The Galactic Federation meeting hall was quiet except for the soft hum of translation devices. Representatives from dozens of worlds sat in their climate-controlled pods, each one designed for their specific needs. The Karani delegate, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, stood at the center podium. Her voice shook as she spoke. "The Vorthak Empire has surrounded our home world," she said. "They demand we surrender all our resources and become their slaves. If we refuse, they will destroy every city, every farm, every life on our planet." The hall filled with worried whispers. The Vorthak Empire was known across the galaxy as brutal conquerors. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who stood in their way. No one had ever successfully fought them off. Admiral Gethys of the Zinthari Federation Navy stood up. His reptilian features showed deep concern. "We will send our fastest fleet to help you, but our ships will need 3 months to reach your system. Can your people hold out that long?" The Karani delegate's shoulders dropped. "Our defense ships were destroyed in the first attack. We have no weapons left. The Vorthak ships block all escape routes. 3 months. We don't have 3 days." More whispers filled the hall. Every representative knew what this meant. Another peaceful species would be wiped out, and there was nothing they could do about it. Then a new voice spoke from the back of the hall. "Excuse me." All heads turned to look at the human section. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood up slowly. Humans had only joined the Federation 6 months ago. Most aliens still weren't sure what to make of them. They came from something called Earth, which the computers classified as a Class 13 death world. Until humans, no one thought anything could live on such a dangerous planet. "Did you say your world is in the Karani system?" Ambassador Rodriguez asked. The Karani delegate nodded sadly. "Yes, but as Admiral Gethys said, it would take months for any help to arrive." Ambassador Rodriguez touched a device on her wrist. She spoke quietly in human language for a moment, then looked up. "Actually, we have a ship that could reach your system in 5 days." The hall went silent. Admiral Gethys blinked his large eyes. "That's impossible. The nearest human world is at least 40 light-years away. No ship can travel that fast." Ambassador Rodriguez shrugged. "The UES Retribution is currently on patrol near the outer rim. Captain Chen could have her people there in 5 days, maybe 4 if they push the engines." Several aliens made sounds of disbelief. The mathematics didn't work. Space travel had limits that everyone understood. Even the fastest Federation ships couldn't cover that distance so quickly. "I don't understand," said the Karani delegate. "How can one ship help us?" "The Vorthak have 47 warships surrounding our planet." Ambassador Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. She seemed to be choosing her words carefully. "Our ship has specialized capabilities, and Captain Chen has dealt with pirates before." Admiral Gethys leaned forward. "1 ship against 47? Even if your technology is advanced, those odds are impossible." "Maybe," Ambassador Rodriguez said, "but Captain Chen doesn't like bullies, and she especially doesn't like people who hurt innocent families." She paused. "Would you like us to try?" The Karani delegate looked around the hall. No other help was coming. Her people were facing slavery or death. What choice did she have? "Yes," she whispered. "Please help us." Ambassador Rodriguez nodded and spoke into her wrist device again. This time she spoke longer, using what sounded like military terms. When she finished, she looked up at the Karani delegate. "Captain Chen sends her regards. She says her crew will take care of this problem." Admiral Gethys stood up again. "Ambassador Rodriguez, I must ask, what exactly is the UES Retribution? What kind of ship can reach the Karani system so quickly?" Ambassador Rodriguez smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that made other species feel nervous without knowing why. "The Retribution is what we call a heavy cruiser. Captain Sarah Chen commands a crew of 300 humans. They specialize in difficult situations. But the odds," Admiral Gethys said. 47 enemy ships against 1. Your crew could be killed." "Admiral, with respect, you don't understand humans very well yet." Ambassador Rodriguez's voice was calm, but something in her tone made several aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. "We come from what you call a death world. Every day of our lives we face things that would kill most species. Our gravity alone would crush half the people in this room. Our weather could freeze or burn you to death in minutes. Our planet is covered with animals that hunt us for food." She gestured to the other human delegates sitting nearby. "Every person you see here survived growing up on a world that tried to kill them every day. Captain Chen and her crew? They're military. They're the ones we send when even other humans think a situation is too dangerous." The hall was completely quiet now. Many aliens had never really thought about what it meant to live on a death world. They knew Earth was classified as dangerous, but they assumed humans had technology to protect them. Ambassador Rodriguez continued. The Vorthak Empire has never fought humans before. They don't know what we're capable of. They expect their enemies to surrender when faced with bad odds. That's not how humans think. What do humans think? Asked the Karani delegate. Ambassador Rodriguez's smile became wider and somehow more frightening. When humans see bad guys hurting innocent people, we don't think about odds. We think about justice, and Captain Chen is very good at delivering justice. Admiral Gethys looked confused. But surely you have some plan? Some strategy beyond just hoping for the best? Oh, we have a strategy, Ambassador Rodriguez said. It's quite simple, actually. Captain Chen will arrive at your system, evaluate the situation, and then remove the threat. Remove the threat, Admiral Gethys repeated. You mean negotiate with them? Ambassador Rodriguez shook her head. Admiral, the Vorthak Empire enslaves and murders innocent people. You don't negotiate with that kind of evil. You stop it. The Karani delegate was crying now, but they looked like tears of hope instead of despair. Do you really think your captain can save our people? Ambassador Rodriguez looked directly at her. Ma'am, Captain Chen has never failed to complete a mission. Never. And she takes it personally when bad people hurt good families. She paused. Your people will be safe, I promise you that. Later, after the Federation meeting ended, Admiral Gethys approached Ambassador Rodriguez privately. I hope you know what you're doing. If this human ship is destroyed, it could damage relations between the Federation and Earth. Ambassador Rodriguez gathered her papers slowly. Admiral, I appreciate your concern, but you're thinking about this wrong. How so? You're worried about what happens if the Vorthak destroy our ship. You should be worried about what Captain Chen is going to do to them. She looked up at him. The Vorthak Empire has been terrorizing peaceful worlds for decades. After this week, that stops. Admiral Gethys felt a chill run down his spine. There was something in the human ambassador's voice that reminded him of predators from his homeworld. Something cold and certain and very, very dangerous. What exactly are humans planning to do? He asked. Ambassador Rodriguez picked up her bag and headed for the door. She stopped and looked back at him. We're going to show the galaxy what happens when Deathworlders decide they've had enough. As she walked away, Admiral Gethys realized that maybe the Federation had made a mistake. They thought they were gaining peaceful allies when Earth joined them. But maybe they had actually awakened something much more dangerous. Something that had been waiting for an excuse to show the galaxy what real predators looked like. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching the stars blur past at faster than light speed. Her ship was pushing its engines harder than most alien vessels could handle, but that was normal for human technology. Everything humans built had to work in extreme conditions because that's what Earth had taught them. Captain, we'll reach the Karani system in 4 hours, reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the navigation station. The engines are running hot, but they can handle it. Chen nodded. Around her, the bridge crew worked with calm efficiency. To any alien observer, it would look almost boring. No one was panicking or shouting orders. The humans simply did their jobs with the kind of quiet confidence that came from years of facing deadly situations. What do we know about these Vorthak? Chen asked. Commander Singh, her tactical officer, pulled up a holographic display. They're aggressive expansionists, Captain. Standard tactic is to surround a planet with overwhelming force, demand surrender, then strip the world of all resources. They've conquered 17 systems in the past 50 years. Weapons and ship capabilities, plasma cannons, standard deflector shields, conventional armor. Their ships are built for intimidation and firepower against civilian targets. Intelligence suggests they've never faced serious military resistance. Chen studied the display. 47 enemy ships positioned around the planet in a siege formation. It was designed to prevent escape and demonstrate hopelessness to the defenders below. They're used to fighting people who give up, she said quietly. Yes, Captain. Most species surrender rather than face those odds. Chen smiled, and her crew recognized that expression. It was the same smile she wore when facing pirates in the Outer Rim, or when dealing with smugglers who thought humans were easy targets. I suppose no one ever told them that humans don't know how to give up. The bridge crew chuckled. It wasn't mean-spirited laughter, just the quiet amusement of people who had faced impossible odds before and won. Ensign Torres at the communications station looked up. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Karani planet. It's a general distress call. Put it on speakers." A voice filled the bridge, speaking through the universal translator. It was weak and desperate. "This is Karani Central Command to any Federation ships. We are surrounded and helpless. The Vorthak demand total surrender in 6 hours or they will begin destroying our cities. We have 40 million people on this world, including 12 million children. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help." The bridge went quiet for a moment. Chen looked around at her crew. She saw the same expression on every face, cold anger. Humans had a particular hatred for anyone who threatened children. "Commander Singh, start working on tactical scenarios. I want options for engaging 47 enemy ships simultaneously." Singh nodded. "Already on it, Captain. The computer is running probability calculations now." Chen moved to her command chair and activated the ship's internal communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. In 4 hours, we will reach the Karani system where the Vorthak Empire is threatening to massacre 40 million innocent people, including children. The enemy has 47 warships. We have one." She paused, knowing her words were being heard throughout the ship. "I know what you're thinking. Those sound like terrible odds. You're right, they are terrible odds. For the Vorthak." Laughter echoed through the ship's corridors as 300 human crew members heard their captain's words. "The Vorthak Empire believes that overwhelming numbers make them invincible. They've never fought humans before. They don't understand that when you threaten children, you don't get 47 ships fighting one. You get one ship fighting 47 targets." Chen's voice became harder. "We are the United Earthship Retribution. We are named for justice. Today we deliver it. All departments prepare for combat operations. This is not a drill." The ship immediately came alive with activity. In the engineering sections, humans began pushing the fusion reactors to military power levels that would melt most alien equipment. The weapons teams loaded ammunition that hit harder than anything in the galactic databases. The medical bay prepared for casualties, knowing that humans kept fighting even when badly injured. "Captain," Commander Singh reported, "the tactical computer has finished its analysis." "And?" Singh grinned. "According to Galactic Federation military doctrine, our chances of victory are 0%. According to human military doctrine," he paused, "the computer says the enemy is poorly positioned for their own defense, overconfident, and has never faced an aggressive opponent. Estimated time to neutralize all enemy ships, 43 minutes. 43 minutes seems long," Chen said thoughtfully. "Yes, Captain. But that includes time for accepting surrenders and rescuing survivors from disabled ships." Chen raised an eyebrow. "You think they'll surrender?" Singh looked at his display again. "Honestly, once they see what we do to the first few ships, I think they'll panic. Most bullies do when someone fights back." 4 hours later, the Retribution dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Karani system. Immediately, their sensors showed the Vorthak fleet arranged around the planet in a siege formation. "Captain, we're being hailed by the Vorthak command ship," reported Ensign Torres. On screen, the bridge display showed a large alien with gray skin and red eyes. Scars covered his face, and his uniform was covered with medals taken from conquered worlds. When he spoke, his voice was full of contempt. "Unknown ship, this is Admiral Vex of the Vorthak Imperial Fleet. You are interfering with a military operation. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Chen stood up slowly. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Retribution. You are ordered to release the Karani people and withdraw from this system immediately." Admiral Vex laughed harshly. "One ship gives orders to 47? Are you insane? Who are these humans anyway? We're the people who are about to teach you that being a bully only works until you meet someone stronger than you." Admiral Vex's expression became angry. 47 ships against one. You cannot win." Chen smiled that cold smile again. "Admiral, you're thinking about this wrong. This isn't 47 ships against one ship. This is 47 targets in a convenient formation waiting for us to arrive." The alien admiral looked confused. "Targets? Ensign Torres, send a message to the Karani people. Tell them to take shelter and stay away from windows. This will be over soon." Torres nodded. "Message sent, Captain." Chen looked back at Admiral Vex. "You have 30 seconds to order your ships to stand down and prepare to surrender. If you don't, we will consider you enemy combatants and respond accordingly," Admiral Vex snarled. 30 seconds? You think you can defeat the Vorthak Imperial fleet in 30 seconds? No, Chen said calmly. I think we can defeat you in about 20. The extra 10 seconds is just to be polite. Admiral Vex cut the communication and immediately started shouting orders to his fleet. On the Retribution's tactical display, the Vorthak ships began turning to face the human vessel. Commander Singh looked up from his station. All enemy ships are powering weapons and moving into attack formation. Are they all in position? Chen asked. Yes, Captain. They're arranging themselves in a standard intimidation pattern. Maximum visual impact, concentrated firepower. Chen nodded. Perfect. They're all grouped together exactly where we want them. She settled into her command chair and activated the ship's battle station's alarm. Throughout the Retribution, humans took their positions with the calm efficiency of apex predators who had just spotted their prey. All stations report ready for combat, Singh reported. Chen looked at the tactical display one more time. 47 enemy ships in perfect formation, expecting their new target to either run away or beg for mercy. They had no idea what humans did to people who threatened children. Weapons free, Chen said quietly. Let's show them what Deathworlders can do. The first shot fired was not from the Vorthak fleet. As 47 alien warships moved into their attack formation, the UES Retribution suddenly accelerated directly toward them at a speed that made the Vorthak sensors scream warnings. Impossible, Admiral Vex muttered as he watched the human ship charge straight into his fleet's center. No captain is that insane, he was wrong. Captain Chen was not insane. She was just human. Ramming speed, Chen ordered calmly. The Retribution's engines roared as the ship accelerated to velocities that would crush most alien crews against their bulkheads. But humans came from a high-gravity world, and their ships were built to handle forces that would destroy other vessels. Captain, the lead Vorthak ship is directly ahead, reported Commander Singh. Impact in 30 seconds. Wait for it, Chen said. The Vorthak admiral watched in horror as the human ship grew larger on his screens. At the last possible moment, he screamed, "Evasive maneuvers." But the Retribution was not actually planning to ram them. At the final second, Chen ordered, "Hard port, full broadside." The human ship spun sideways with impossible grace, and every weapon on its port side fired at once. The concentrated firepower struck the Vorthak command vessel like a hammer blow. Shields collapsed, armor melted, and explosions tore through the ship's hull. Impossible, Admiral Vex gasped as his flagship died around him. Our armor should have stopped that. Through the smoke and flames, he heard a human voice on the communications channel. Your armor was designed to fight people who give up when the odds look bad. We're not those people. The Vorthak command ship exploded in a ball of plasma and debris, but the Retribution was just getting started. Next target, Chen ordered as her ship spun through the enemy formation like a dancer. Every movement brought their weapons to bear on another enemy vessel. The Vorthak fleet tried to respond, but they had never faced an opponent who fought like this. Their tactics were based on overwhelming firepower from safe distances. They surrounded enemies and demanded surrender. When that failed, they simply poured fire into stationary targets. They had never fought someone who moved like the Retribution. Captain, Singh reported with excitement in his voice, the enemy is trying to form a defensive perimeter around us. Chen looked at the tactical display. The Vorthak ships were attempting to surround the single human vessel, just like they had surrounded the planet. It was their standard tactic. They still don't understand, she said with amusement. They think surrounding us puts us at a disadvantage. Should we break out of their formation? Asked Lieutenant Commander Jackson. No, Chen replied. Being surrounded by enemies just means we can shoot in any direction and hit something that deserves it. The Retribution began spinning in place, its weapons firing in all directions. Each shot was precisely aimed by computers that calculated trajectories faster than alien minds could follow. The human ship became a whirlwind of destruction in the center of the enemy fleet. Vorthak ships exploded one after another. Their captains screamed orders, but nothing worked. How do you fight an enemy that treats being surrounded as an opportunity instead of a trap? This is Captain Torex of the Vorthak destroyer Painbringer, came a panicked voice over the communications. The human ship is moving too fast. Our weapons can't track it. Then get closer, shouted another Vorthak commander. Ram them if you have to. 3 Vorthak ships charged toward the Retribution at full speed, planning to destroy the human vessel through collision. It was a desperate tactic, but they were getting desperate. Chen watched them approach and smiled. "Commander Singh, prepare boarding pods." Singh blinked. "Captain?" "You heard me. Load boarding pods with full Marine squads. If they want to get close, let's give them what they want." As the 3 Vorthak ships closed in, the Retribution launched a dozen small pods that attached to the enemy hulls like parasites. Each pod contained 6 human Marines in full combat armor. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. The Marines cut through alien hull plating like it was paper. They moved through enemy ships with terrifying efficiency, neutralizing resistance with weapons that seemed impossibly powerful. But it wasn't just their equipment that shocked the Vorthak defenders. It was how the humans fought. Sergeant Martinez led his squad through the corridors of a Vorthak cruiser, his armor's sensors tracking 12 enemy soldiers ahead. The aliens had taken defensive positions behind barricades and were laying down covering fire. "Standard room clearing," Martinez told his squad. "Remember, these people threaten children." The Marines charged directly into the enemy fire. Their armor absorbed shots that would have killed most aliens, and they kept coming like unstoppable machines. But they weren't machines. They were humans who had grown up on a world where everything was dangerous, where only the strong survived. The Vorthak soldiers had never faced enemies who could take damage and keep fighting. On their worlds, a serious wound meant death or surrender. But humans had evolved to keep functioning even when badly hurt. "Impossible," gasped a wounded Vorthak warrior as Sergeant Martinez approached him. "I shot you. I saw the hits." Martinez looked down at the scorch marks on his armor. "Yeah, you got some good shots in. Now where is your ship's weapons control?" The alien pointed with a shaking hand, too shocked to resist. Within minutes, the Marines had taken control of all 3 ships and turned their weapons against the rest of the Vorthak fleet. Admiral Vex is second in command. Captain Drex watched in horror as their own ships began firing on them. "How are the humans controlling our vessels?" "They boarded them," came the reply from the sensor operator. Small teams of human soldiers took over 3 cruisers in less than 10 minutes. Captain Drex felt something he had never experienced before: fear. The Vorthak Empire conquered through intimidation and overwhelming force. But the humans seemed to treat overwhelming odds as just another tactical situation to solve. "All ships," he ordered, "fall back to defensive formation Delta. Keep distance from the human vessel." But the Retribution was no longer alone. 3 captured Vorthak ships now fought alongside it, their weapons directed by human Marines who had taken their bridges. The tactical situation had changed completely. "Captain," Singh reported to Chen, "we've eliminated 15 enemy ships. 3 more are under our control. The remaining fleet is attempting to withdraw to long range." Chen nodded. "Time for Phase 2. Launch fighters." From the Retribution's hangar bays, sleek human fighter craft emerged like angry wasps. They were smaller than the main ship but just as deadly, piloted by humans who had trained in atmospheric flight on a world where the weather itself tried to kill them. The Vorthak fleet found themselves facing an entirely new nightmare. The human fighters moved like living things, dodging between their larger ships, striking at weapons and engines with surgical precision. Lieutenant Sarah Kim dove her fighter through a gap between 2 Vorthak destroyers, her weapons carving through their connecting bridge. The massive alien ships collided with each other, their hulls cracking like eggs. "This is Gold Leader," she reported cheerfully. 2 more targets neutralized. These guys really need to work on their formation flying." Captain Drex watched his fleet being systematically destroyed by a force 1/10 their size. It was impossible. It defied every law of military science he knew. "Send a message to the human ship," he ordered desperately. "Tell them we want to negotiate." The reply came back immediately in Captain Chen's calm voice. "You had your chance to negotiate before you threatened to kill children. That offer has expired." Another group of Vorthak ships exploded as human fighters swarmed over them like predators taking down prey. The formation that had seemed so intimidating an hour ago was falling apart completely. Captain Drex realized with growing horror that the humans were not just defeating them. They were hunting them. Every movement, every tactic showed the patience and skill of natural predators who had found their prey. "All ships," he ordered, his voice breaking with panic. "Emergency retreat. Every ship for itself." But it was too late. The humans had them exactly where they wanted them, confused, scattered, and running in fear. As the remaining Vorthak ships tried to flee, Captain Chen opened a communication channel to the planet below. "Karani Central Command, this is Captain Chen. The siege of your world has been broken. Please stand by for mop-up operations. On the planet's surface, 40 million Karani people heard those words and began to cry with relief. They had been saved by creatures from a death world who treated impossible odds as just another day at the office. The Vorthak Empire had just learned what happened when bullies met real predators. Captain Drex's desperate retreat signal reached the outer edges of the system, but it also reached something else: the Vorthak Empire's emergency communication network. Within hours, the news of the disaster had traveled across dozens of star systems. The response was swift and overwhelming. "Captain," Commander Singh reported grimly, "long-range sensors are detecting massive hyperspace signatures. Multiple fleets are inbound." Chen studied the tactical display as red dots began appearing at the edge of the system. Each dot represented another Vorthak battle group jumping into the system. "How many ships total?" she asked. Singh's face was pale as he read the numbers. 237 ships, Captain. They're bringing everything they have." Around the bridge, the human crew absorbed this information with characteristic calm. From any reasonable perspective, the situation had just become hopeless. 1 ship and 3 captured vessels against nearly 250 enemy warships. "Well," Chen said thoughtfully, "I suppose someone finally got their attention." Lieutenant Commander Jackson looked up from his station. "Captain, should we signal for backup?" Chen considered this. Federation reinforcements were still months away, but there were other human ships in the sector. "Send a priority message to Admiral Harper on the UES Vengeance. Tell her we found a large concentration of enemy ships in the Karani system and request immediate assistance." "How immediate?" Jackson asked. "Tell her to bring whatever she has available and get here as fast as possible. We're about to be very busy." As the Vorthak reinforcements poured into the system, their combined commanders established a communication link. General Korax, the highest-ranking officer present, took command of the massive fleet. "This ends now," he declared to his subordinates. "One human ship has embarrassed the entire empire. We will destroy them completely and make an example that the galaxy will never forget." The Vorthak fleet arranged itself in a formation designed for absolute overwhelming firepower. Ships in layers, overlapping fields of fire, no possible escape routes. It was the kind of formation meant to intimidate enemies into surrender without a fight. On the Retribution, the crew watched the enemy fleet organize itself. "They're very good at looking impressive," observed Commander Singh. "Yes," Chen agreed, "but they're still thinking like people who expect their enemies to give up when the odds look bad." 3 hours later, hyperspace ripped open again and 3 more ships appeared: the UES Vengeance, UES Justice, and UES Righteous Fury. Admiral Harper's voice came over the communication channel with barely contained excitement. "Sarah, what did you find for us?" "About 200 enemy ships that need to be removed from this system," Chen replied. "They were threatening to massacre civilians." "How thoughtful of them to gather in one place," Admiral Harper said. "Saves us the trouble of hunting them down across multiple systems." General Korax watched the 3 new human ships join the first one and laughed harshly. 4 ships against 237. They must be completely insane. But something was bothering him. The human ships weren't trying to flee or hide. They were moving into combat formation with the confidence of a much larger force. "General," his tactical officer reported nervously, "the human ships are moving to attack positions." "Impossible. No species would be that foolish." "Sir, they're accelerating to combat speed." General Korax stared at his display. The 4 human ships were indeed moving toward his massive fleet with the kind of purposeful advance that suggested a well-planned attack. Either these humans were completely mad, or they knew something he didn't. Admiral Harper's voice reached across space to address the entire Vorthak fleet. "This is Admiral Rebecca Harper of the United Earth Space Force. You are ordered to surrender immediately and submit to Federation justice for crimes against civilian populations." General Korax opened a communication channel, his voice full of disbelief. 4 ships order 200 to surrender? You are either insane or this is some kind of trick." "No trick," Admiral Harper replied calmly. "Just humans doing what humans do when we find people who hurt innocent families." "And what is that?" Admiral Harper's voice became cold as space itself. "We remove them." The battle began with the humans doing something no military computer had predicted. They split up. Instead of staying together for mutual support, the 4 human ships spread out and attacked the Vorthak fleet from 4 different directions simultaneously. Each ship moved like an independent predator, striking where the enemy was weakest and disappearing before they could respond effectively. The UES Vengeance charged straight into the center of the enemy formation, its weapons carving through ship after ship like a knife through paper. The UES Justice flanked the enemy from above, using the star's gravity well to slingshot around and strike with devastating precision. The UES Righteous Fury attacked from below, its fighter squadron swarming over enemy vessels like angry insects, and the UES Retribution continued its deadly dance, moving through the enemy fleet with impossible grace, leaving destruction in its wake. "This is impossible," General Corax muttered as he watched his carefully planned formation dissolve into chaos. "How can 4 ships fight 200? His tactical officer had the answer. "Sir, they're not fighting 200 ships. They're fighting individual targets in rapid succession. Each human ship is engaging small groups of our vessels, destroying them, then moving to the next group before we can coordinate a response." It was true. The humans had turned a massive fleet battle into dozens of small engagements and in small groups. Their superior technology and tactics gave them overwhelming advantages. Captain Vex II, son of the admiral who had died in the first battle, commanded a squadron of 12 heavy cruisers. He watched in horror as the UES Justice emerged from behind a disabled ship and destroyed 3 of his vessels in seconds. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessel," he ordered. But the Justice was already gone, vanishing into the confusion of the larger battle. His remaining ships fired at empty space while human fighters appeared from nowhere and began taking them apart piece by piece. "This isn't warfare," he gasped. "This is hunting." He was right. The humans fought like pack predators, coordinating their attacks without apparent communication, striking weak points with surgical precision, and showing no mercy to enemies who had threatened children. General Corax tried desperately to regain control of the battle. "All ships form defensive clusters. Don't let them isolate you." But his orders came too late. The human attack had shattered his fleet's organization, and individual ship captains were panicking. Some tried to run, others charged blindly at the nearest human ship, and still others simply froze in terror as they watched their comrades die around them. The UES Vengeance found itself surrounded by 30 enemy ships. Admiral Harper smiled at the tactical display. "They think they have us trapped," she told her crew. "How should we disappoint them?" "May I suggest the Terran surprise maneuver?" asked her tactical officer. Excellent choice. The Vengeance suddenly launched every fighter and bomber it carried, while simultaneously firing a spread of kinetic missiles in all directions. The enemy ships, expecting conventional ship-to-ship combat, found themselves under attack from dozens of smaller craft, while also dodging high-velocity projectiles. In the confusion, the Vengeance activated its ramming system and charged directly at the largest enemy ship. At the last moment, it fired its main guns at point-blank range and used the explosion to propel itself away from the destruction. 15 enemy ships were destroyed or disabled. In less than 3 minutes, General Corax watched, his fleet being systematically dismantled, and felt something he had never experienced before: despair. The Vorthak Empire had conquered dozens of worlds through superior numbers and ruthless tactics. But the humans were fighting with a combination of advanced technology, superior strategy, and absolute fearlessness that made his advantages meaningless. "Sir," his communication officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 ship captains." "Surrender?" General Corax stared at him. "We still outnumber them 40 to 1. "Yes, sir, but," the officer gestured at the tactical display, "we've lost 93 ships in 2 hours. At this rate, the entire fleet will be destroyed before we can cause significant damage to even one human vessel." General Corax looked at the display and realized the terrible truth. His ships were dying so quickly that the humans would finish them off long before reinforcements could arrive. The mathematical reality was undeniable. "Open a channel to the human fleet," he ordered quietly. Admiral Harper's face appeared on his screen. She looked calm and professional, as if she had just finished a routine training exercise instead of destroying nearly 100 enemy ships. "General Corax, I presume. Are you ready to discuss terms?" "What are your terms?" he asked bitterly. "Complete surrender of all Vorthak forces in this system. All ships will be disarmed and crews taken into custody. You will also provide the locations of all Vorthak military bases and occupied worlds." General Corax felt the weight of absolute defeat. "And if we refuse?" Admiral Harper's expression didn't change, but her voice became colder. Then we continue removing enemy ships until there are none left to refuse. Around General Corax, his bridge crew waited for his decision. Through the viewports, they could see the wreckage of what had once been the most powerful fleet in Vorthak history. General Corax began. The Galactic Federation emergency session was called within days of the Battle of Kurani. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in the Great Assembly Hall, their voices creating a buzz of excitement, fear, and confusion that the translation devices could barely handle. Admiral Gethys stood at the central podium, his reptilian features showing deep concern. The battle reports we've received are difficult to believe. 4 human ships defeated a fleet of over 200 Vorthak vessels. The entire Vorthak Second Fleet has been captured or destroyed. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the assembly. The Vorthak Empire had been one of the galaxy's major military powers for over a century. The idea that they could be crushed so completely by such a small force seemed impossible. Ambassador Rodriguez sat calmly in the human section, watching the other delegates struggle with the news. Many kept glancing at her with expressions ranging from awe to outright fear. Ambassador Rodriguez, Admiral Gethys said, "Would you care to explain how this was possible?" Rodriguez stood up slowly. The battle proceeded as expected, Admiral. Captain Chen and Admiral Harper eliminated the threat to civilian populations and secured the system. As expected, the voice came from Ambassador Kelthara of the Zenthari Republic. You expected 4 ships to defeat 200? Not exactly, Rodriguez replied. We expected it to be over more quickly. The Vorthak proved more stubborn than anticipated. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Several delegates were talking at once, their translation devices creating a chaotic mix of languages and emotions. Order, Admiral Gethys called. Ambassador Rodriguez, surely you understand why the Federation finds these results concerning. Rodriguez tilted her head. Concerning how? The humans have demonstrated military capabilities far beyond what was indicated in your membership application. Some members are asking whether Earth misrepresented its technological level. Rodriguez was quiet for a moment, choosing her words carefully. Admiral, when humans applied for Federation membership, we provided complete technical specifications for all our ship designs, weapon systems, and military capabilities. Every detail was made available for review. Then how do you explain the battle results? You reviewed our technology, Rodriguez said simply. You didn't review our tactics, training, or psychology. Ambassador Kelthara leaned forward. What do you mean? Rodriguez gestured to the display screen, which showed images from the battle. Vorthak ships exploding, human vessels moving with impossible grace, the systematic destruction of a fleet that had seemed invincible. Every species in this room has evolved on worlds that were basically safe. Your planets might have predators, weather, or other challenges, but nothing like Earth. You've never had to develop the kind of survival instincts that come from living on a world that actively tries to kill you every day. She paused, letting that sink in. When humans see a tactical situation, we don't just analyze it logically. We analyze it like predators who have spent millions of years learning to hunt, to fight, and to survive against impossible odds. Admiral Gethys shifted uncomfortably. But surely the technological advantage... Our technology is exactly what we said it was, Rodriguez interrupted. The difference is how we use it. When you design a ship, you think about efficiency, comfort, and safety. When humans design a ship, we think about how to kill things with it. The brutal honesty of that statement sent a chill through the assembly. Many delegates were beginning to understand that they had completely misunderstood what humans were. Ambassador, came a new voice from the back of the hall. Are you saying that humans are naturally more aggressive than other species? Rodriguez smiled, but it wasn't a reassuring expression. Not more aggressive. More effective. When humans fight, we don't just try to win. We try to end the threat completely so it can never hurt anyone again. She gestured to the battle reports. The Vorthak Empire has been terrorizing peaceful worlds for decades. How many times has the Federation passed resolutions condemning their actions? How many strongly worded diplomatic protests have been sent? Several delegates looked embarrassed. The Federation had indeed spent years trying to deal with the Vorthak through diplomatic means, all of which had failed. Humans don't send diplomatic protests to people who threaten children, Rodriguez continued. We send warships, and we keep sending them until the problem is solved permanently. Ambassador Kelthera stood up, her voice shaking slightly. Ambassador Rodriguez, the Federation is concerned about the implications of human military doctrine. If Earth can defeat major military powers so easily, what assurance do we have that humans won't become the next threat? The hall went quiet. This was the question everyone had been thinking, but no one had wanted to ask directly. The humans had just demonstrated that they could destroy any military force in the galaxy. What was to stop them from conquering everyone else? Rodriguez looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of dozens of alien delegates. When she spoke, her voice was calm but firm. You want to know if humans will become conquerors like the Vorthak? The answer is simple. Look at what we did after the battle. She activated a holographic display showing the aftermath of the fight. We secured the Karani system. We provided medical aid to civilian populations. We treated captured enemy personnel according to Federation guidelines. We turned over all captured ships and equipment to Federation authorities. The display showed human medical teams working alongside Karani doctors, human engineers helping to repair damaged infrastructure, human ships patrolling peacefully to ensure no other threats approach the system. Conquerors take territory and resources, Rodriguez said. Humans take threats off the board and then go home. Admiral Gethys studied the images. But surely the Federation deserves some explanation of human military capabilities. If we're to work together, you want to understand human military doctrine? Rodriguez asked. It's very simple. We identify threats to innocent people. We eliminate those threats as quickly and completely as possible. We help the victims recover. Then we move on to the next threat. She paused. The Vorthak Empire controlled 17 star systems and was actively planning to conquer more. As of this morning, they control 0 systems and are in Federation custody awaiting trial for war crimes. The implications of that statement rippled through the assembly. In less than a week, humans had completely eliminated a military threat that the Federation had been struggling with for decades. What about other aggressive species? Asked a delegate from the Outer Rim. The hegemony? The blood clans? Rodriguez smiled that cold smile again. We're aware of them. They're on our list. Your list? Humans keep very careful records of who threatens innocent people. We prioritize based on immediate danger to civilian populations. She gestured to a datapad. The Vorthak were at the top of the list because they were actively attacking the Karani. The others? We'll get to them. A new voice spoke up from the Karani delegation. The human ships saved our world. 40 million people are alive today because Captain Chen and her crew answered our call for help. The speaker was the same blue-skinned delegate who had pleaded for help just days ago. We are eternally grateful to the humans and to Earth. Rodriguez nodded respectfully. The Federation exists to protect peaceful worlds from those who would harm them. That's exactly what we did. Admiral Gethys looked troubled. Ambassador, while the Federation appreciates human assistance, we must address the strategic implications. No single species has ever possessed such overwhelming military superiority. Then perhaps, Rodriguez said quietly, the galaxy has been fortunate that humans believe in justice instead of conquest. The hall fell silent as delegates absorbed the full meaning of her words. They were beginning to realize that humanity's membership in the Federation wasn't just the addition of another species with useful technology. It was the arrival of the galaxy's apex predators, creatures who had evolved on a world so dangerous that warfare against any other species was almost absurdly easy for them. The Federation has a choice, Rodriguez continued. You can work with humans as allies and partners, helping us identify threats and coordinate responses. Or you can spend your time worrying about what we might do instead of appreciating what we're actually doing. She gestured to the Karani delegate. Ask the 40 million people we saved which approach they prefer. Admiral Gethys was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. What does Earth want from the Federation? Same thing we've always wanted, Rodriguez replied. Peaceful cooperation, shared knowledge, and the chance to explore the galaxy together. The only thing that's changed is that now you know we're very good at dealing with people who threaten that peace. Another delegate raised a tentative hand. What happens now? To the Vorthak territories, I mean. Rodriguez consulted her datapad. Federation humanitarian teams are already en route to provide aid to liberated populations. The worlds that were conquered will be given the choice of independence or Federation membership. The Vorthak military personnel will face trial for war crimes. And the Vorthak species itself? will be given the same choice as everyone else. Live peacefully as part of the Galactic